You think you've got my number figured out? A motive born in drought and brevity. And if I'm not the soul of your design, I blatantly decline your remedy. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. Wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, if I lose the fight, I still rage against the night. Don't box I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. My love wasn't ever a game. I lay my cards out on the table. There's nothing to gamble away. But I can promise that you'll never be the same. But I can promise that you'll never be the same.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Thursday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday. It is Friday Junior. Welcome, Juan Carlos. Bruno, welcome. Michael Hassler, Derry Bennett. UFC at the White House on Flag Day. When is that, by the way? It's just an insane thing to be even saying that we're gonna have a literal UFC fight event, because like this is all just a circus. This entire thing from beginning to end is all a circus. A horrific circus, but a circus nonetheless. Ladybug, welcome. There'll be legislative elections in Armenia next Sunday. Cool. Welcome, welcome, folks. Let's get started, because it is Friday, Junior. It's basically the weekend. Okay, I'm pretty much toast from work today, so we're gonna do what we're gonna do. It's been a good news day. Yes, if you want to support the channel, please check out all the links there. Alright, folks, let's get started, because we gotta mosey on out. It's the weekend, I'm ready. I got absolutely toasted by work, absolutely cooked. So I support this channel on Twitch, but I chat on YouTube. I appreciate that. That's cool. That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly okay. Alright, folks, let's get started. Got a few things to talk about. Things and stuff. A little bit of good news, right? We should start off good.
No idea.
I think I know. What's Core MAGA now?
I have no idea.
I think I know. Trump has said from the beginning, and he's
Pedophile supporting Israeli lobby? Well, I mean,
Oh my god. That's I mean, that's true. That's true. Where is he? Good question. If you say their name, if you say her name 3 times, she'll appear.
You just heard from Sean Ryan, a pro-Trump podcaster who's become increasingly disillusioned with the MAGA movement because, as he put it, it stands for nothing but pedophilia and the Israel lobby at this point. And he's one of many MAGA pundits that has hopped off the Trump train recently. And even though Trump still holds a lot of influence over the GOP electorate, his cultural...
He's 100% correct, though. Yep. I met her. Me too. Every time I just feel like the denominator just comes to like life, you know? life. I really have to jump into Discord more often. I mean, like, these weeks have been brutal. Like, honestly, work has absolutely, like, been really, really bad for, like, I would say at this point, maybe like a month or two. It's been really bad, so I'm like not really that present, but I'll be back as soon as things get better. I'll be more available to check on what's going on there. I mean, I occasionally like jump in, but yeah, it's been brutal.
Relevance has completely.
But I'm also not gonna like stop streaming, you know? So I have to like we gotta cut corners, you know what I mean? Not gonna stop streaming, but I'm just like not that present on like social media or Discord or anything like that. Israel Lobby, aka the Epstein class.
He collapsed at this point, which is significant because at the start of his second term, it really felt like fascists had conquered us politically and culturally. Multinational corporations rolled back their diversity initiatives to align with Trump's new fascist.
I mean, to be fair, like it kind of still is the same, right? Like it kind of still is. Like the fascists currently, even though they're not like, even though things are bad, as weird as it seems to say, even though things are bad, it's not, it's not as bad as it could be, if that makes sense.
Values. Social media sites announced the Twitterification of their platforms. Mark Zuckerberg, for example, greenlit hate speech towards LGBTQ plus people on Meta platforms again. Not to mention, Trump's popularity among the bro podcast sphere in conjunction with the rise of the manosphere genre really made it seem like the brains of an entire generation of young men would be lost to the fascist mind virus for a very long time, but polls show that they've generally soured on the MAGA movement, and that's significant because at the start of Trump 2.0, right-wing degenerates like Glenn Beck, they expressed that for the first time ever, it really felt like the conservatives were the cool kids, and even though I hate to admit that, I would agree, yes, they were very culturally dominant at the start of 2025.
There's been a sea change. We're at the very beginning of it, but you know, it's strange. I was just talking to Donald Trump. I was doing a fundraiser at Mar-a-Lago a couple of days ago, and I said, I think like we're like the cool kids now. I've never been at the cool kids table.
This is wild.
But just 2 years later, we're already reverting back to homeostasis.
I wish that I
all of the
could be
vibes-driven,
like the cool
wave-riding
kids.
grifters are
'Cause
already
all the
jumping
cool
ship.
kids, they
Losers like
seem to
Anna
fit
Kasparian in that
in.
video, who were trying to ingratiate herself with MAGA, was forced to eat shit and admit that she was wrong about Donald Trump. Painfully so. She had to recalibrate in order to align with conservatives who also turned on Donald Trump like Candace Owens, because she quickly realized that the MAGA trajectory she was on was a dead end. Right-wing ideologues who were titans of the online right like Ben Shapiro are fading into obscurity faster than anyone thought was possible. People whose political ideologies and entire identities were based purely on the Trump cult of personality are now left in this weird state of limbo, wondering what to think now that their entire worldview and theory of change has fallen apart before their very eyes. And you're seeing former MAGA diehards like Sean Ryan grapple with that reality in real time and try to learn how to think for himself.
Be like the cool kids. Seven says a man about to die in a statistical measure. True.
Never.
I don't know. I don't know what to think anymore. I don't even trust my own intuition when it comes to politics, because I thought things were going to be so different, and I got fucking duped.
Nobody knows anything about anything.
That's
Yeah,
project.
and like that's the thing. Listen, okay. If this is like a genuine turnaround, because like again, I don't trust any of these people. But if this is like a genuine like realization, you know, like a real come to Jesus, oh my God, I really messed up. Like I goofed up really bad. You're a grown man, dude. How did you not know? Okay, that's embarrassing. First of all, you were told repeatedly how this was going to play out by different people. You were told repeatedly by Donald Trump how this was going to play out, and you still did the thing. So that's number one. But number two, if this is a real come to Jesus moment, then good, and you should be using your platform and capital, political capital, so to speak, on podcasts and whatever to destroy the MAGA movement. That's what you should be doing, and I think that making comments like that is good. I think that calling them pedophile protectors and whatnot, yeah, that's what they are. Epstein railed a gathering? No, don't even, Mr. Boston, okay? Don't even.
You don't know anything about anything, Megyn Kelly, but as someone who initially opposed Donald Trump back in 2016, she was forced to embrace him in order to have any relevance online whatsoever. But less than 2 years into the second Trump term, she's already off the Trump train once again because she senses that Trumpism is reaching its endpoint, at least in its current iteration, and she knows that she has no choice but to bail now unless she wants to have Trump stink on her permanently, which is what a lot of them are worried about right now. It's why there's speculation about J.D. Vance and whether or not he might wait to run for president until 2032 because he knows his association with Donald Trump is going to be an albatross around his neck in 2028. It's just too soon. It's why MAGA darlings have been reduced to laughingstocks even by their own movements. Just last year, think about this. Sydney Sweeney starred in a jeans commercial that was applauded by Nazis due to its eugenics dog whistle. And less than a year later, she's already the subject of viral transvestigations along with Erica Kirk, the new standard bearer for Turning Point USA, which has all but become irrelevant. Even Libs of TikTok is pointing out how corporations once too afraid to even acknowledge the existence of queer people are back to virtue signaling to LGBTQ plus people again because the fear of MAGA backlash is obviously waning. In fact, the opposite is starting to happen. To show you what I mean, Republican fascist Andy Ogles tweeted, "Homosexuality has no place in America," and the backlash was so severe, he actually deleted that tweet and blamed it on a staffer. And I just want to emphasize how rare it is to see a Republican, any Republican, back away from...
Just to be clear, like this excuse, this excuse of like, oh, it was just a staffer. Then like, who are you hiring, bro? What are you talking about? That's not a good excuse either.
From anything ever, especially a bigoted tweet in the Trump era. That is significant because a year ago, we all know he would have doubled and tripled down. And the fact that he didn't indicates that politicians know Americans are fed up with the Trump-style shenanigans. There's just no appetite for it at this point. This behavior that we've been subjected to by Donald Trump, it's not cute. Nobody finds it funny or endearing in a weird way. We're just fucking tired of it, and they know that we're tired of it. And on the subject of pride, formerly pro-LGBTQ plus Republicans like Nancy Mace, which was a rarity, decided to hitch her wagon to MAGA by monopolizing discourse when it comes to the trans bathroom panic issue in order to elevate herself among MAGA diehards. But fast forward to today, and she's having a mental breakdown because she's polling in 5th place in South Carolina's gubernatorial race, and she resorted to pretending that Trump endorsed her when he didn't. He endorsed her opponent, and you could see the crash out in real time. And we've reached the point where some of the biggest names in the MAGA movement have publicly distanced themselves from Donald Trump or outright turned on him altogether, like Alex Jones and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson. Or if they haven't done that, they've just kind of faded into obscurity altogether. And then there's also the portion of MAGA burnouts like Nancy Mace, Pam Bondi, Tulsi Gabbard, and others, and soon to be more, I would imagine, who were left high and dry after they hitched their wagons to him. It was career suicide in the end. And the optics of Trumpism, the Epstein files, and pedophilia support, as well as support for the genocidal country of Israel, has just destroyed the temporary cultural cachet that Trump had at the start of his second term. Anyone who rode that wave is already running away from it as fast as they can, because in 2026, MAGA is synonymous with losers and pedophiles and corruption and war crimes because its figurehead is a dying old racist slob with dementia, bruised hands, and a fucking neck pussy.
Yeah, so...
But
True. But also, this is something that we have to, like, continue to say and continue to nail down, right? Like, this literally is overwhelmingly, okay, a fascist party that supports pedophiles and defends pedophiles, and we just got to keep doing that, right? These are predators, these are pedophiles, and they're overwhelmingly Republican as far as the government goes. It will do like Nazis in Germany. They'll deny they were ever part of the movement. Yep. Trump is a pedophile and an old-style racist. Exactly, and that's what I mean. Like, that has to be said every day, on the hour, every hour on the hour, 24/7, 365 days. You know, Trump and the Republican Party are pedophile and pedophile defenders, and they're racist, fascists. Like, and that's true. That's 100% true. The fascists are still in total control for now. For now. People laid down their lives to stop them in the 30s, not so much now. Yep, that's true.
Was always going to end this way because these people are too fucking weird and too insular to monopolize culture for an extended period of time. And even though the cultural death of MAGA doesn't necessarily signal that its political death is also imminent, it's nevertheless a key domino that had to fall for the Trump era to end. I mean, the cultural component to MAGA could have technically outlived Donald Trump.
It's the only component to MAGA, right? Like, that is the component, right? The cultural thing, right? That's all these white supremacists have.
Denying hyper-masculine energy could have remained the Republican Party's brand for generations to come. I mean, it's popular around the world. But the fact that everyone's already sick and tired of it is a sign that the Trump era will, in fact, end with Donald Trump's political career or life.
Legalizing child marriage since there were age laws. Yeah, and in fact, like, even to the day, the people that are overwhelmingly against outlawing child marriage have been Republicans. The people who have advocated for lowering the age of consent has been overwhelmingly Republicans. Like, and I'm talking about recently. This is 100% true. People have too many distractions nowadays to go outside and take it to the streets. Yes, among other things, capitalism has its own defense mechanism, right? You have to work. Oftentimes, most people are not working just one job. Most people who are struggling are most often working several jobs, too, or gigs on the side. There's no time for that. Most people are too concerned about what they're going to do when those student loan payments are coming, which is next month. Yeah, that's an extra, like, what, half a mortgage payment for us? Yeah, it's not easy. It really is not easy, and it's on purpose. It's on purpose. Distractions, being saddled with economic austerity, being forced to work more than one job. I mean, like, it's all on purpose to not be.
And it's important for us to acknowledge that because
for that exact outcome, so people won't or can't take it to the streets.
It gives us a reason to actually be hopeful again. It doesn't necessarily mean that everything is going to go back to normal, whatever that means. We might remain a de facto authoritarian regime for quite some time. Right-wing extremism is probably going to continue to be a threat for the foreseeable future. But the death of Trumpism specifically as a cultural...
100%. Like, this whole, like, movement isn't just simply going to go away. Obviously, it's not going to have the same, like, power, but it's not just going to go away. Does that make sense? Like, it's never going to have the same, like, the same pull with regards to, like, the political power. But it's still going to be around. It's still going to be around, and it's still something that we're going to have to contend with for the foreseeable future. It might not look like, you know, the MAGA movement or Trumpism. It's just going to be maybe something else. Neoliberalism does love austerity. Yep. That is true.
phenomenon does give us more favorable conditions to work with. Having said that, we've still got a very, very long way to go before we get back to basic reality and common sense in this country. And while it's important to encourage MAGA conversion, it's also incumbent on us to never ever let these shitheads live this down. A lot of them knew better, and for the ones that didn't know better, they at least need to know that there is a cultural cost to embracing racism, bigotry, and open fascism. If we let them off easy, there's going to be no disincentive for them to run into the arms of the next fascist demagogue when they inevitably rise.
And just to be clear, like just to be clear, like a lot of these people will just fall for the same thing, right? Because like the xenophobia, the racism, and all that, that's already baked in. It just needs someone to come along to activate all of that. But yeah, I mean, we're always gonna have to contend with this, with these type of people. It's just our job to make sure that they don't get this level of power ever again.
I am getting ahead of myself because Trump is still in power now, so we're in the thick of it. But I think that we have to talk about this now because we have a responsibility to make sure.
Hey, Eager, welcome. DJ has fallen asleep thrice on TV today. Can't raise his arm. His sling man had a stroke recently. Probably. I've seen like many hypothesis that like he's like suffered like, you know, like severe like not severe but like bouts of like mini strokes. So yeah, not everyone is smart enough to figure out all these problems are due to crony capitalism. That's true. Everyone keeps their head down and mouth shut, looks the other way, and stands idly by every time. It's not just gonna go away. The disgusting senile puppet is more in their way than anything. Maybe. Maybe they maybe they proved to be more of a problem than a solution, but you know. It's our job to continue to hoot and holler until we can't. With that news, I gotta go get calzones and garlic bites. Good day, everyone. Well, thank you, and I appreciate you stopping by. I say good day, sir. Those logical people will fall for the next one over and over again. Yeah, I mean, it's our job to continue to try to spread class consciousness as much as possible. Because, yeah, I mean, like Nadia says, it's not just gonna go away, not that easily. And we have to be there each and every time. Just like just like the fascists aren't gonna go away, not easily, we are not going to go away either. Socrates once said you need educated citizens for a functional democracy. I think so. I think that is pretty important. You need to know what you're doing to run a society.
Backlash to the Trump era is so severe that every single person who so much as flirted with it, even temporarily, knows they're going to be a social pariah for the rest of their fucking lives.
I hope so.
We should never forgive them for the irreverence. They should feel our scorn and judgment and lack of respect until the day they fucking die. And quite frankly, I don't care if people think that I'm being too harsh. MAGA cultists never considered the pain and suffering that they caused by going full fascist, so I think that we should show them as much empathy as they showed.
It's not even like, okay, like it's a slight like disagreement, okay, because like I think that it's a slight disagreement because obviously like I don't think that we should like devoid empathy. I think like the word we're looking for is sympathy. I think the word we're looking for is sympathy because nobody should have sympathy for these people. But anyways, no, maybe that's just a tomato thing. But yeah, that he's right. In other words, that is being too kind. I'm definitely human. Welcome. Don't worry, in 10 years, nobody will ever have supported Trump ever. I mean, they're gonna try, but, you know, the internet is forever. Getting the moron at the top out of the ways will supercharge it with a competent leader. I mean, I don't know if they have a competent leader, right? Like, who are they gonna throw in? Like, J.D. Vance? I mean, he's more competent, I guess, than Trump. He's more competent than Trump, but, I don't know. I think it's like a fatal flaw within this entire operation here. because they think or they were hoping that Trump was just gonna, you know, drive them all the way up to the power, and they had like basically nothing else, right? I mean, you know, they've got JD Vance, who's being, you know, bankrolled by all these technocratic fascist people like Peter Thiel and whatnot, but like I don't know how far that's gonna go, to be honest. And I'm almost thankful for that. Almost thankful that like the best that they have is JD Vance. Obviously he's scary, probably scarier than Trump, but yeah. The problem I have with Republicans outside that their white ring is that they have no spine. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously. That's kind of a given. That's kind of good. They can't have a spine because they believe in nothing. They have no principles other than whatever gets them power. They lie and they wiggle and be as hypocritical as they need to be. And they don't care. And they don't care because that's not ultimate, like the truth or being or standing for something is not really like a important, you know, part of their ideology. What are we saying? How much would it take for one in the ring with an ostrich? What are you talking about? I don't want to fight ostriches. Ostriches are cool.
But others, which is
the
none.
is morally corrupt
And
since
really,
Nixon. Before then,
it's not about them. It's about future generations. It's about protecting them. We are stuck with the current political climate because our grandparents and great-grandparents, they never adequately punished racist, Confederate, fascist fuckwads.
True.
Some of them participated in it. Many of them did. And I think that it's time for our generation to break that cycle. We need to commit to full demagnification akin to German denazification in the aftermath of World War II, because it's not good enough to just shame these people for ever being part of this movement. We need to undo their brainwashing.
and even then, there are still Nazis in Germany. Even then, okay, it's not like, you know, it's a big prominent thing, right? Like they have the AFD, they have the they have the AFD, but even then, like the Nazis weren't completely done away with, right? So yeah, you're always going to have to deal with a subsection of the population that is willing to do these things to the other to the rest of the population. You're always going to have a percentage of people that are going to be willing to do these things. Denazification was a myth on both sides of Germany, by the way. I mean, like, I'm not going to pretend that I know, but we're just going off like what we've read, okay, or what we were supposed to read, anyways. All that is to say, even then, right? Like, let's just use that. Even then, Nazis still persist till today, and it's something that we will always have to contend with. It's just a matter of putting the guardrails in place so that people like that don't ever get to the level of power that they did. Nixon is basically the timeline when fanatical evangelicals started to infiltrate the Republican Party. Yeah, but I think that like I think that the Republican Party was already like on its way, or maybe that was like the last. It was like the last, you know, turn before everything.
So we can reintegrate them back into civilized society so we can actually fucking function. We have to treat them like the feral animals they are and domesticate them before they bite us again. But that project aside, I will say I am pleased to see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, but we have an obligation to future generations to do everything in our power.
We need to win them. Yeah, but that's not entirely true either, right? Like you can't rely on just elections, right? Those aren't the guardrails, because obviously those are being stripped away at a breakneck speed, right? There's nothing that's not the guardrails would be direct action. You can declare bad governance illegal. I mean, you can, but what are we gonna do about it? What are we gonna do when Republicans strip out you know, all the all the majority minority districts where black people will have no representation. What do we do then? Elections are rigged, shams, it's all spy rupture. I mean, I don't think that all elections are just shams, like just by default. Otherwise, like, they wouldn't be spending all this time and effort to do the things that they're doing now, right? To go back to Jim Crow, to try to eliminate districts where there's majority minority areas, to try to rig the midterms to try to keep as much favorability to Republicans as possible. Like, you wouldn't need to go through all that. You don't really need to go through all that if it's already like sham. If it's already a sham, I don't believe that all elections are shams. I'm thinking that there are definitely problems. We can see the cracks. We can see the cracks as Republicans have tried and are trying to manipulate the outcomes of the midterms, for example. If the option is a right-wing party and a fascist party, I don't really see what the point is. I mean, I get it. Not gonna sit here and argue with that. I'm not gonna sit here and argue with that. My only thing is that, like, the priority should be defeating fascism, right? That should be it. It's not just simply relying on elections by themselves, but the priority should be defeating fascism at whatever juncture that you can do that. Redistricting will backfire eventually. Demographics shift. These safe seats will change parties over time. California went from a red state to a blue state. Yeah, but we don't have that. We don't have that time. We don't have that time. The time frame is not. They want to cement a decades and decades Republican rule for as long as possible. Yeah, I mean, I guess, like, if you take several generations down the line, yeah, it'll change, but maybe some of this redistricting will backfire immediately. I'm just saying that what they are doing and why they're doing it is indicative of or is proving my point as to why that just simply rely on elections as guardrails is not is just not the case. There hasn't been anything to the left of Mussolini since FDR. Yeah, I mean, we haven't really had a strong, like, progressive. I mean, even FDR. I mean, he did a lot of good things economically. But even him, we need a serious left candidate to win eventually, because again, like, you can't just like think that elections are going to solve the problems here. It's a lot deeper than that, unfortunately. Mussolini wasn't voted out of office. Yep, that's true.
To prevent this from ever happening again, which means we don't forgive and we sure as shit don't forget.
Do yourself a favor.
Do yourself a
and
favor.
Click the join button on
Click the
YouTube.
join button. But, like, you get what I'm saying, right? Clean go. We want clean go. Trump announces $700 million investment in coal plants in California export terminal, which is great. Fantastic. This is exactly what we need in the middle of the climate crisis. Mussolini lost the war and his country was occupied by Germany. Different circumstance. No, I think the point that she was making is that, like, when you get to the point of having a Mussolini in power, none of those people, even including Hitler, were removed by being nice. You know what I mean? Like, none of those people were removed by, like, the population voting them out. None of those people were removed by elections at all. None of those. Not Franco, not Mussolini, not Hitler. No authoritarian. No dictator like that has ever been removed by voting. I recall that Trump was voted out in office in 2020. It can't happen. Yeah, but we're dealing with a different beast, though, right? Trump didn't have the systems in place that he did even in 2020. Now he's got a lot more. He's learned a couple of lessons. Yeah, exactly. It's what I'm trying to say. 2020 Trump is different than 2026 Trump, as wild as that may be, and unhinged, and more unhinged, less checked. So yeah, this is different story. Power concedes nothing without a demand. Yeah, the mustache man wasn't voted out of office either. Yeah, that's exactly the point. It's not like, obviously it's not a complete one-to-one, but the point is that none of these authoritarian people were moved by voting them out. It just didn't happen. Now, we're not at the same stage as we're not at the same stage as a Hitler or as a Mussolini, but we don't really want to go there, do we? Franco died of old age. That's how the regime fell, and it almost failed. BCAT, welcome. Please don't live along as his father. The difference in the U.S. is that it's a clique, not an individual. The U.S. two parties are both parties at both parts of the clique. Capital. Hitler also lost the war, and his country was occupied by the Allies as he committed self-death. Right, but again, at no point was he ever removed from power. That was the point. Not the exact circumstance. Not the exact circumstance. The point being made is that these people weren't removed by elections. But both of these people were not removed by elections. When you have someone that concentrates power like this, it is very difficult, as Sevens just pointed out, for power to let go. Like, you think that if you continue to allow Trump, right, we the country, allow Trump to continue to concentrate power like he's been trying to do, eventually we'll get to that point where he is going to be like a Hitler or like a Mussolini, right? He strikes me as a bit of a combo of both. But it won't be like Nadia says, like a clique. It'll just be Trump. And our job is to make sure that it doesn't get there. Or whoever comes after Trump, because he's not going to be here for very long, I think. If he makes it a couple years, it'll be a miracle, but you get my point. Heat, how's it going? We're not at that point yet, correct. And neither Trump nor Bolsonaro were willing to leave office even though they lost. Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, by luck, I guess, the people that did the insurrection on January 6th did not succeed. A quick analysis is 1920s China. Gotcha. This is why March understood revolution will always be necessary and violent, because it comes up against people who already have, by definition, state violence, which is the supposed monopoly. By definition, the state, which is supposedly monopoly on violence, is why you see ongoing normalized violence when it's behest of the class that controls the state. That's why it's really talked about violence. Only the violence that resists the violence. Yep. Trump hasn't suspended elections yet. If he does, who knows what might happen. His powers end in 2028. He can be a paper king, but he will be ignored. Yeah, but that's kind of the problem, right? Like, what will happen if he suspends elections? That is a scary proposition, right? Like, are we gonna wait till? Are we gonna wait till he decides to do that? It's been a click. It was never Trump. I mean, yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. Elections are run by states, not the president. Doesn't matter. He doesn't. He believes otherwise. Regardless of what, like, what I'm trying to say is that he doesn't care about what the actual law or the Constitution says. It's been proven that he can just ignore that. It's been proven that he can just ignore that. Elections are scheduled by Congress, not the president. Congress doesn't seem too keen on reining him in either. So, like, you get my point? Like, yeah, on paper, you're right. You're right, he doesn't have all these powers. Yeah, of course, elections are run by the states, not the president. But we're not dealing in normal times where we actually care about what the law is. That's my point. Trump will not succeed in canceling elections? I don't know that. Maybe so. Maybe he won't even try it. I doubt it. But my point is, we should not let him get to that point. Elections don't need to be suspended, they're just rigged. I don't think that every election is rigged. I think that what they're trying to do is rig the midterms for sure. He's a senile puppet. He's not in charge now, and the odds are slim age that slim age will get him to 2028. Yeah, it's unclear if he'll even make 5 years. Honestly, maybe even less. We were just talking about you. That's true. Anyways, it's not about what he will be able to succeed or not succeed. On the basis of what's law and constitutional. In 2020, Trump floated the idea of delaying elections because of mail ballot problems. Congress. Eve, Charles Gosling told him to forget about it, and he did. Yeah, 2020 Trump. Not 2026 Trump. Sassy, welcome. Ezekiel, thank you for the follow. They're all rigged? I don't think they're all rigged, because if that's true, then why vote? If that's true, why would you need to go to the Supreme Court to try to rig your midterms to favor your party, right? Does that make sense? Like, some might be rigged, some might not. I don't know, but I don't think that elections are rigged in the sense that, like, no matter what, the outcome is already predetermined. I think that they're in the process of doing that by finagling districts, which will determine who controls the House and the Senate, or the House. I think that will. I think that is true. But if all elections are rigged, then there's no point in voting, and I don't think that's 100% true. Elections are rigged, we'd have the same party in power all the time, which we don't. Laws are just made up as they go to attack the proletariat. I agree. A lot of these laws are. They rig elections by throwing out minority votes. Yeah, by destroying voter rolls. Sure. By destroying voter rolls. By redistricting. By making it more difficult for people to mail in their ballots. By closing polling places to make it more difficult. If that makes sense. Looney Tunes, welcome. Fuck the elections, I want to cancel them. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. Give me my cereal. I gotta eat my cereal. They can contest individual ballots too? Sure. Sure. Voter rolls are maintained by states, counties, and cities. You all need some civics education. Yeah. And they oftentimes purge a lot of people on purpose. Yeah. Absolutely. states also design the maps. States also redistrict. That doesn't change the fundamental argument. Does that make sense? Parties are just the same team puts up. They're not opposed to each other. I think at a fundamental level, it is it's true because fundamentally capitalism is what runs everything. Most purges are according to the current laws, and you can always re-register in person in some states. Yeah, and that's the point. That's exactly the point. How many people like do that? How many people have to check each time and then have to go in person or send documents or whatever to try to get that done? It's an extra barrier that does clear people. That does clear people from voting. It does. It may not be a lot, but death by 1,000 cuts. And it works. Death by 1,000 cuts. If you don't think that this is on purpose, they're doing purges on purpose so that they can force people, to go back and make sure that they're registered, and then if they're not registered, you know, it creates a barrier. It does. In California, you can re-register at any open vote center and online. Yeah, and they want you to take those steps, even if it's that simple. And plus, California is California. We're talking about California is almost guaranteed blue. This is why elections matter. Democrats are not doing the purging nonsense you're talking about. I didn't say Democrats are doing it. I said Republicans are. And that's the problem. Republicans are the ones that are engaging in all of these behaviors. So yeah, if you live in California, great. But not every state operates like California. If some Republicans resisted Trump's stop the steal BS, well, where are they? You get what I'm saying, right? Like nobody, and not everyone lives in California. Not everyone lives under those. You just said that states make the rules. So you understand that the rules in southern states and Republican states are a lot worse. Why isn't registration automatic in the first place? Because we want less people to vote. Who the hell is this Hassan guy? Has some dark woke moralist, by the way. F my social media team. I'll post whatever I want. It's always one-sided. Dems do purges too. When they do, they purge the left. I mean, Dems do tend to fight the left. Well, these Dems do, yes. Are you a Democrat? No, not really. Have it your way. We're totally powerless. Fascism is unstoppable. I've never said that. I never said that at all. This is now the time to be even more close ranked together. If you think that simple elections are going to stop fascism, that's not how it goes. Not saying don't vote. Not saying don't vote. It is a tool. I'm saying that understand that just thinking that voting your way out of fascism is going to work is naive, because it's not, historically speaking. We can't get rid of fascism by getting rid of the system which let fascism into power, which is capitalism. How do you stop fascism? Class consciousness. You need to get the working class together. It's that imperative. And the US elections are part of it, not all of it. You can keep them out of office. That's a good first start. I mean, sure. But if you don't take care of the fundamental problem, it's just going to keep coming back. Does that make sense? So yeah, of course you should try to kick them out of power wherever possible. There's no these thems, it's the whole party. And no, it's not the whole party. That's the thing. And that's what makes it problematic. I don't believe that every single dem is like that. It's just not. But of course it doesn't matter because the leaders at the top, the party elite, the party that controls the leaders of the party and dictate what happens, they're no good, so it doesn't really matter, I guess. Well, you go ahead and abolish capitalism. Let me know when that happens. It's not just about abolishing capitalism. You can't do that if you don't start with class consciousness. It's basically saying that we shouldn't do anything. It's basically saying that what I'm advocating for is basically impossible, which is not. And if we believe that, oh, well, we're just gonna... Yeah, I guess you can't do anything about it other than vote. That's not gonna work either. Revolutionary struggle, like what deposed Mussolini, is the only thing that hasn't blatantly led to a continuation of fascism. I believe that you're surrendered before the fight is fully joined. I think that just relying on one simple thing, just vote them out, is basically surrendering. Well, Italy currently has a fascist in power. Yep. We will always have to contend with this. We will always have to contend with this. Everyone is feeling the pressure of inflation, stagnant wages. It shouldn't be hard to get people to unite under these conditions. You would think, right? You would think. You would think. Sir, get off your damn screen. It's why you keep falling asleep. I told him to F off. I said no. I know what I'm doing. I know what's best. Don't give your opponents more power than they have. I mean, I agree. I agree. I agree. This is not a preemptive surrender. It's we have to lock the F in, okay? If there was ever a time in recent history to lock the F in, okay? To lock in as a left-wing movement, it would be now, okay? If there was ever a time to lock in, it would be now. All I can think of to do is stand up against bigotry, educate others about progressive principles, which help us on. Absolutely vote for people who have spines for the cause. I agree. There's not enough. Are you always a hat on guy? I'm a big fan. I always have this beanie. There's not enough leftists in the US to stop the MAGA fascism. We need a popular front, even though you dislike all other people who will be in that front. Didn't say that, actually. Didn't say that at all. The popular front is people who don't want fascism. I think the first step towards communism is letting people know that letting North Korea and China aren't like all communists. When you reverse the Red Scare, you can get actual progress. I mean, like, I don't care how you do it, okay? Because, like, you can just talk about how things would be, or how things should be. You don't have to call it communism or whatever. Like, it's... I know Americans are overly propagandized. I know, like, Americans are overly propagandized to just hear communism and then, like, immediately, like, retreat. But, like, you can just talk about things. You know? In fact, I don't really mention the word communism in this stream that often. At all, actually. The contempt for liberals here is pretty evident, which is, you're right. The reason why we have contempt for liberals is because they're just too short-sighted. They're just too short-sighted. Okay, a lot of liberals are. They're just too short-sighted. Not saying that they can't, you know, participate in the anti-fascist movement. I'm sure there's plenty of liberals that do already. I'm saying that fundamentally, what they believe is a solution, we the left would argue is just not adequate. It's just not really reaching the root of the problem. So that's where a lot of the headroom, a lot of the clashes go, is that liberalism, or liberals, think that we can just fix this problem by doing stuff around the edges, right? Capitalism is fundamentally not the problem. In fact, if we just did it correctly, then we wouldn't have any of this, okay? Which the left says, no, actually, I think that there's a fundamental rot here that we can't ignore. And I think that's where a lot of the clashes go, because I think that liberals, quote unquote, tend to be, they just don't, they have that blind spot. I'm talking to researching bodies in an innocent computer program. I just think that the blind spot there is fundamentally the belief that you can just work around the edges, and that if you just get rid of the bad orange man, which he is, then things will be fine, which is not the case. Which is not the case. That is why. And then they have the audacity, a lot of liberals, not everybody. I don't really want to have to, like, you know, fight liberals, not now. But a lot of liberals wag their finger at leftists. For reasons that I think are incorrect. But we live in America, so there's going to be a lot of liberals. In which case, yeah, of course, if you're an anti-fascist liberal that is out there, you know, trying to fight the good fight because you're deeply concerned about fascism and you want to stop it, yeah. I'm not going to stop you. Problem is, you can't fight fascism if you don't, you can't fight regime if you don't understand that it's an antibody response to the body politic of capitalism. Liberals are the reason, or half the reason, why we're here. Is when we have a government that's just exclusively liberals, as left, more extreme, or anything possible, it's allowed for the conditions of fascism to fester for centuries, basically the entire country's existence. So, yeah, anyways, the point the point being is that's why there's a clash between the left and like liberals, which is why we can't have nice things. I mean, there's a lot of normies. There's a lot of normie liberals who were more left than they think they are. But I'm saying like liberalism, the ideology of liberalism, it's problematic and doesn't really fundamentally solve the core problem. But yeah, if you're a liberal and you want to go fight fascism, I'm not going to say no to that. Why would I stop a liberal who wants to join the front lines? Yeah, lie back, liberal. Let your commie mommy take the wheel. Does that make sense? The 2020 plan, keep them out of office. Yeah, well, you need to bring it up with the liberal Dems to do better because they suck. Does that make sense? We're telling them what the winning strategy is, and they just don't. They just completely disregard the left, while also pretending like they need our vote too. So if you want to keep these fascists out of power, then maybe the liberal Dems should do better at that. There are also lawsuits and court cases happening everywhere right now challenging Trump's overreach. Sure, but he can wipe his ass with that. He can wipe his ass with that. Like, that is the fundamental problem, right? Like, liberalism thinks that what? Trump is just gonna have to respect what courts say? That's not a precedent that has been set. The Supreme Court has been ruling in favor of Trump. The Supreme Court has literally gutted the Voting Rights Act. This is not something that you can rely on our institutions to fix. That is the fundamental disagreement. I live in Germany. I'm just say a lot of people here love the AFD because they get spoon-fed the same the propaganda that the only reason everything is more expensive and sucks is because everyone gets raped is because of immigrants. I effing hate Axel Springer. Another reason elections matter, they make up to SCOTUS. Yeah, sure, of course. Of course. Well, I'm sorry, Nadia. I hope you hang in there. AFD terrifies me too. Yeah, it should. Just Nazis. Just another rebrand of the Nazis. SCOTUS has reinstated racial apartheid in the US. Yes, and that's exactly my point. Yes, that's exactly my point, where you can't just let the institutions... Like, we're going to pretend that the institutions... aren't going to solve everything. Oh yeah, they're just going to do lawsuits or whatever. Yeah, and then the Supreme Court goes, okay, let's just destroy the Voting Rights Act or whatever. Let's just destroy the idea that a president that basically has immunity. You know what I mean? Like, we can't... Liberals need to understand that Republicans aren't playing by the rules. They don't care about the rules. Okay? So this idea that the rules are going to save you is wrong. And this idea that there's Republicans that care about, you know, what courts say, or there's Republicans that care about what the law says is delusional. They don't care about that. They're not... Liberals are not... liberals are not understanding that the rules aren't real. Republicans understand that. There isn't a magic MAGA go away button via a button called voting. Yep. You can only hold them at bay with that. And I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with that, just to be clear. Like, you need to vote these people out where you have the opportunity to. Absolutely. Dems always end up delaying their appointees, and Republicans just ran theirs through. Right, which is the point. Which is the point I was saying, that that liberal Dems are pretending like we still. Liberal Dems are pretending like we still have rules, like we still have laws. When that's not really the case. We don't. Unless you're poor, of course. Then all the laws and all the boot will come down on you. Guns are conning you and not even trying. Nadia emigrated to Twitch chat. Uniparty and rotating villains? Oh, I agree. You could say the better side. No, there's no better side. I'm good with Twitch or YouTube, okay? It's almost even, by the way. It's kind of cool how there's almost like an even amount. Pretty cool. Look, all I know is that Republicans need to be removed from power. Voting is one of the reasons that we have, one of these small options that we have, and we should use it. But let's not be delusional and think that the rules and institutions are going to save us, because they're not. Anyways, that is the rub that we have again for liberals. You get what I'm saying? It's like capitalism, right? This idea that capitalism can be this dogmatic really does blind people. Yes, let's throw the rules away. Which side wins in that scenario? Most ruthless, which is not us. Then maybe we should be. Yeah. If they're not playing by the rules, why should we? Maybe Dems should be more ruthless. Yeah. Maybe Dems should be more ruthless and stop pretending like the rules are still in place. I also emigrated to Germany and need to run again while lacking resources. I'm sorry, Nadia. Not entirely. Trump tried it in 2020 and lost. No, what do you mean? I'm saying that Republicans don't care about the rules, and anything procedural that was supposed to, be in place is not in place right now. So why should Dems pretend and play by the same rules when Republicans aren't. This has nothing to do with the 2020 election. It's like Trump losing the 2020 election gave you the wrong lesson. Trump tried to steal the election and failed. Those rules are still in place. Maybe. Maybe. But is he in jail? No. How many people went to jail for trying to steal the election? Many, then Trump released them. Right, so the rules, the laws aren't working. It's broken. It's broken if somebody that committed sedition and was convicted is now free. So there are no rules. So what you're saying is that essentially sedition is not really a law. Trump's pardons were entirely legal, unethical, and legal. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. Then fundamentally, the crime of sedition doesn't exist if you commit it under Trump's name. So the rules don't exist. It's the same point that I'm circling back to. You're pretending like we have rules. No, the pardon power is a rule also. Two rules in conflict. So then again, there are no rules because nobody went to jail. Just because it's legal, technically on paper. If someone who is proven to be a child predator and done election fraud, I don't see how laws work anyways. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's my point. Like, oh, but legally, I don't care about that. You're saying that you're proving my point that there are two standards here, okay? There are two standards here. Do you think that if I were to commit sedition under a Joe Biden presidency that I would be afforded the same thing? No. Right. No. So what I'm trying to make you understand that these institutions are fundamentally broken. Trump is unethical, we agree. He's more than just unethical. But you understand what I'm saying, right? You're pretending as if Trump is like Biden pardoning his son for whatever, for some BS. No, he's not a troll. He's just like he's not a troll. He just doesn't understand. He's a liberal, okay? He's most likely a liberal. And I'm trying to make the point that the systems and institutions are not working. Okay? And to pretend that they are working and that we should follow the rules, that Democrats should follow the rules and should be the ones to uphold policy or whatever, it's a farce, because Republicans constantly run roughshod around all of that. It does not matter. So therefore, I think to Redmond's point earlier, we should be more aggressive We should be. We should be pretending like, oh, well, if there's no rules, then there's no rules. It's like this is like we're having a soccer match, okay? This is like we're having a soccer match, okay? And the enemy team, okay, starts beating on us, and then like the captain goes on and goes, no, guys, don't fight back, okay? It's against the rules, okay? Surely the referee is going to stop the people beating us. And meanwhile, like the referee and the coaches aren't like raising the red flag or the red card or whatever, right? It's like, no, if they're not going to play by the same rules and they're beating the crap out of you, okay, because all the rules are not applicable at this time, then we're not playing soccer, are we? So freaking fight. That's all I'm saying. Rules only matter when they give the right what it wants. Oh, yeah, no, all of a sudden, yeah, all of a sudden, the rules are very important. Oh, the Democrats want to do like some kind of like student loan relief. Oh, we gotta talk to the parliamentarian or whatever. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, no, fuck that. The Republicans don't have that problem. Oh, we want to do, you know, such and such program, but we have to consult the parliamentarian. Oh, we shouldn't appoint justices right before an election year. We shouldn't appoint Supreme Court justices right before an election year. You know, that's wrong, says Mitch McConnell. Soon as Trump gets into office, oh, we gotta ram through justices because, you know, whatever. Those windmills keep killing birds. It's not a problem for Dems. It's the lie they tell you to pacify you while they implement the right-wing outcome. I mean, sure. But you get what I'm saying, right? Like, doing something good always is a problem because of some procedural bullshit. But when Republicans want to do that, oh, F the rules, screw the rules. How come they get to play like that? How come they get to fight like that and we don't? Okay? That's the problem. The libs aren't understanding. Not talking about like the libs as in the Democratic Party. Talk about the people on the ground. Okay? Demand better. Okay? The Democrats are in the wrong here, okay? In the sense that they should be fighting more. Put some WD on that chair. What was that? It's the microphone. It's the squeaky microphone. Trump is adding a monster truck racetrack to the White House for the 2050 event sponsored by Brondo. It's what the plants want. The chair is literally cheering. Well, you get what I mean, right? This is squeaky. Well, actually, I don't know what is squeaking. Yeah, it's probably the mic arm. There it goes. The goals are the same for Republicans and Dems. Line there in their donor pockets, and the way they go about it is different. That's why Bill Clinton abolished welfare, and Clinton and Biden mass imprisoned black men, and Biden ushered in Clarence Thomas into the SCOTUS. Oh, it's what the plants crave. Yeah. Sorry for accusing your chair. Yeah, it's wrong perpetrator. It's the mic arm. Yeah, sure. All of that was terrible. Terrible policy. But you know, like that's the thing though, right? Liberals will say, well, that's just the law, right? Okay, well, the left has repeatedly said that we need to do fundamental change. You don't listen. I'm talking about like the politicians. So anyways, that is why we have that is the rub, because like now at this crucial time, okay? At this crucial time, we're going to pretend that we're all playing on the same playing field? No. And then to have contempt for the left? And then have contempt for the left? Nah. You can understand why people on the left are a bit upset. Are a bit upset when we're in this position now, when all of this could have been avoided. All of this. You know, the do-nothing liberals hate nothing but themselves. They whine and complain all effing day. They watch fake CNN, you know, with their low ratings all day long. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I'm still pissed at the DNC for what they did to Bernie, but we don't have to get into that. Well, yeah, I mean, liberals would say, well, that's just the Democratic Party's right? It's within their it's within their legal authority to do that, and it is true, right? Oh, well, that's just how the primary played out, you know? I guess it's just the system, the institution, the laws and rules and regulations within that institution allowed for that to happen. So therefore, hey, whatever. It's like, no, I think we're missing the point here. The legal authority to cheat and rig the primary. It crushed him like a bug and colluded to destroy his chances. Yep, which I believe he would have won the general election, but there's no point in trying to even rehash that. The point is that didn't happen. We got Trump instead. And then they learned the exact wrong lesson, okay? The exact wrong lesson, and got rocked in 2024, okay? And you know who suffers? We all do. Liberals, leftists, and conservatives alike, okay? Because they don't give a fuck about any of us. Okay? And you know who loses? All of us, okay? That's why I'm not, gonna sit here and try to make like enemies out of people. But you understand where all this is coming from, I hope. Yeah, I don't sit here and do like 24/7, anti, like, like I'm not like trying to like make enemies out of people. But you do understand like why people are pissed, right? You do understand that why the left is pissed. And I guess fundamentally it doesn't matter because we all lose. We all lost, okay? I can sit here and be mad all I want, but the reality is we all lost. Quiet liberal piggy. So regardless of me sitting up here and pontificating for almost an hour now, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Lock the fuck in. and it's time to be anti-fascist for real. Okay? That's my final message. All the liberals in the audience, okay? Listen, time to lock the fuck in and be as anti-fascist as possible. The fact that they keep on the same behavior shows that they're okay with the continual losing. Trump and destroying the planet is less scary to them than SOCDEM representation in government. I'm a dirtbag liberal. I'm the last true liberal. Okay, I'm the only real liberal here. I voted for Bernie every chance I had, so I have some agreement. Yeah, but like, sure, and I think that a lot of people did because a lot of people liked Bernie. Even conservative people. Right? So like, yeah, sure, and I agree. I voted for Bernie all the time. It's still, you know, the point being is that like I'm still trying to show you the problems here that are at the core of this whole rigmarole. You know what I'm saying? I've been waiting for a candidate like Bernie my entire long life. Yeah. And somehow, liberal Dems managed to kneecap that. So yeah, I'd be pretty angry if I was waiting for a candidate like Bernie, and then the very same people that are supposed to be, you know, the leaders here just destroyed that chance when we all know he would have easily trounced Trump. We all know that. And then to learn the wrong lessons and do it again in 2024? It's insanity. It's insanity is what that is. We'll get AOC in 2028, I feel it. I mean, out of all the people, I hope so. Out of all the people that are even remotely eligible or thinking about running, I think AOC is definitely is on my top list. Even conservatives would vote for Bernie in the election. I'm for a fact. That's for a fact because conservatives have mentioned that. Because because like people just want to be able to have like people just want to be able to have a good life, okay? And they want someone that speaks to them and that acknowledges their economic pain. The difference is that Donald Trump did that, but did that so he could twist them. Merz rightfully wants to outlaw the AFD because they're fascists, yet he cheers on Ukraine as they canonize actual Nazi collaborators. I don't know about that one, but I do agree that Merz should outlaw the AFD. They're gonna run Kamal again? Please don't bring that into existence. Yeah, when I was young and impulsive, I wore every conceivable pin. Wait, no, that's not how the thing goes. I went to every socialist meeting. I learned all the union hymns. But I've grown wiser, and that's why I'm turning you in. Oh, who sings that song? Who sings that song? Oh, you're gonna have to remind me, chat. Sassy, who's that song? Is it Red? No. What's the name of that song? It was by a folk singer way back when. Hassan for president. I mean, can he even run? Bill Ox, but lots of people probably covered it. Yes, Love Me, I'm a Liberal. There you go. That's the name of the song. Na, 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 I'm a liberal. Something like that, right? Gotta go throw some links in chat. No problem. We're gonna get out of here soon too. Check out the links and do the stuff, folks. Hassan was born in New Jersey. Gotcha. His name is Hassan. All right, folks, we're gonna speed run through some of these headlines because I gotta get out of here too. I still would say boo. We didn't even finish this. Trump to announce 700 million investment in coal plants in California export terminal. I'll be back more next week. First week of summer break here. Hey, nice. Anyone here unironically like Stalin? Not the biggest fan, but Nadia here's your is gonna be your buddy for that. Ready to raid the serfs on Twitch? I hear it's gonna be another good LM episode tonight. Oh, that's right. Today's Thursday. Clean go. That's right. Today we're taking historic action to bring down the price of energy and the cost of living for all Americans with the power of clean and beautiful coal, Mr. Trump said from the Oval Office, where he announced a new funding initiative. So that's cool. $700 million. That's great. Fantastic. Nothing says like solving the climate crisis by trying to rejuvenate or trying to give a lifeline to a dying industry to pollute the planet. If you look at China, you see so many successful countries are using coal. Yeah, but asterisk, they're using less and less and less. You look at some of the real great failures, countries are using wind. Okay. That's not the only renewable, but, you know, whatever. It's not like solar. It's not like hydro. It's not like geothermal, nuclear even. Whatever. Mr. Trump will invoke the Defense Production Act, a Cold War era law that gives the president emergency authority over domestic industries to distribute $75 million for new coal export terminal in Oakland, California, $425 million to support 13 existing plants across 10 states. Fantastic. Our actions will allow these facilities to invest in upgrades that will extend their operational lives for decades into the future, reinforce the reliability of our electric grid, which is really the biggest beneficiary, and most importantly, keep electricity prices very low for the American people, which that's not, how is that even going to be a thing if you allow more data centers to you know, hog up any additional production that any of these plants can even do. This is insane, okay? Like, to extend the operational life of coal plants for decades to come, to lock in essentially these fossil fuel emissions, is insanity, okay? Like, you can forget about any progress on the climate front at all. I don't think Americans are responsible enough for nuclear power. Nuclear is slightly worse, but still miles above any fossil fuel. Yeah, I mean, like, at this point, we're at the point where we just need to get off fossil fuels at all. But that's not I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what to say. What is his fascination with wind power? I don't know. They kill birds or something. So yeah, the Trump administration will also distribute 200 million in Department of Energy grants to build 2 new coal plants in Alaska and West Virginia, to restart a coal plant in Maryland. It's great. The facilities in, like, we could be using all of this to reinvest into renewable sources, like, you know, solar. But whatever. I never get any credit for effing up your groceries. Don't worry, Mr. President. You get all the credit for that. The facilities in Alaska and West Virginia will be the first new coal plant since 2013. That's 13 years. I doubt he's functional in that way anymore. I'm gonna do the sound effects because I don't have them. Do I even have a soundboard working? Come on. Nah. You're just gonna have to pretend that that was the sound effect. Thorium is proving very promising, much shorter waste cycle than uranium and 0 risk of core meltdown. Yeah, I mean, we can literally make sodium batteries, okay? We have the technology to make sodium batteries if we really wanted to. How about we fix some crumbling roads and bridges? Nah, you get coal. You literally get coal. How's that for Christmas? A White House official told CBS News that the initiative, like, yeah, we literally have the technology to do, like, a lot more, okay? We have the ability to make, like, sodium batteries. We have the ability to make nuclear, to make fission, like, in ways that it's not as bad. But, like, you get what I mean? Like, the technology exists. It's just a matter of will, but we don't, whatever. Not gonna get into that. I shouldn't even get into that. White House official told CBS News that the initiative will create thousands of jobs for miners, railroad workers, engineers, and construction workers, and save consumers $50 billion in energy generation costs. Yeah, or we could do green and renewable energy, which would also produce a lot of high paying jobs, you know, like the Green New Deal was supposed to do. But okay. Trump was joined Thursday by Interior Secretary Doug Burgum and Lee Zeldin. Trump has championed the benefits of exploiting U.S. fossil fuel sources. Since returning as president for a second time, he has moved to expedite oil and mining projects and open up new drilling sites. On Thursday, Mr. Trump said his administration has produced 76 new permits for clean, beautiful coal. It's not a thing. Not a thing. Not a thing. This is not even remotely possible, okay? It's a fossil fuel. There's no such thing as clean coal. Nuclear power has over time largely been a smokescreen for nuclear weapons. Yeah, at one point. I mean, not for, well, I mean, if we develop nuclear power, how many more nukes do we really need, right? Like, whatever. But it's not, you don't need just nuclear. You can, there's so many different options. That's why they weren't interested in thorium. Exactly. The Trump administration also directed fossil fuel power plants in Michigan, Indiana, Colorado, Washington State to continue operating past their retirement dates in order to meet rising electricity demand, all while scaling back investment in renewable energy. Fantastic. I mean, do we even need to say more? Do we even need to say more? FYI, coal was for Christmas was not a punishment; it was a gift of heating. That's actually a good point. I didn't think about it that way, Craleo. That's right, Sevens. The fundamental problem is capitalism, and that's why we continue to use energy systems that are not in the best interest of long-term of humanity, but are in the best interest of the short-term profits of the ruling capitalist class. Yep. India and China are investing in thorium reactors because they don't have enough uranium to be enriched, comparing with their vast thorium reserves. Some electricity might be might come out of it, but it was very expensive. Yeah, which now I think is not the same. I think our technology is, you know, And again, we don't even need, the uranium. We can make thorium reactors. There's stuff that we could be doing. So anyways, that's cool. Coal is back in the middle of a climate crisis. It's not going to alleviate the economic problems at all. I still think wind and solar is better. You can't convince me otherwise. Sure. That is the ideal. If we can do the vast majority of renewables, I guess depending on where you are, right? The vast majority of renewables with the sun and wind, yeah. It's great. Why did an analyze 88 countries suspicious? Trump's Epstein war has made the transition to renewables accelerate, by the way. Maybe or maybe not. I don't know. Not here for sure. Not in the United States where it needs to happen. Solar is technically nuclear energy too. Didn't Trump already talk about that clean coal BS in 2016? Yep. He's always said that. He's always said that there's, he wants more fossil fuels. Drill, baby, drill. Clean coal. Trump accuses California Dems without evidence of trying to steal the election. Yes, in California, a known Republican stronghold. President Trump posted on social media on Wednesday accusing the Democratic Party in California trying to steal the California gubernatorial race and Los Angeles mayoral primaries, offering no evidence to support the allegation. In his post, Trump complained about the alleged misuse of mail-in ballots and also accused the Democratic Party of delaying the tallying of votes, claims for which there's currently no supporting evidence. So, yeah. Huge amounts of thorium and other rare earths are out there that are just not dense ore bodies of the things. Gotcha. Our politicians will always think short term because of democratic election cycles. I mean, sure. But I think most of it has to do with who they're being paid for. Who they're being paid by, I guess. I think that has more to do with it than the length of the election cycle, although I suspect that there is some truth to that. But anyways. So yeah, I mean, Trump is just continuing to try to dispute the validity of this. There's no way that that California is going to elect the Republican governor. Okay. Clean coal is, to my understanding, an absolutely thing, but it's a red herring with respect to the fundamental climate change problem, which is a combustion reaction is a byproduct of CO2, which clean coal produces no less. What clean coal, to my understanding, simply means less of like sulfur and other things commonly contained in coal and therefore emitted. Yeah, but like yeah, it's like it's a play on words. Yeah. Byproducts of coal-based energy production, but even clean, it's still producing the CO2 net that is fundamentally one of the most major problems with modern production. Yep. It takes more than 20 years to get a return from thorium reactors. Like, to get it running? The Chinese have a more democratic system than the US by far. I don't know if it's by far, but I'm not going to sit here and accuse, the Chinese of being anti-democratic when we ourselves are kind of not very democratic at all. So, those who live in glass houses shall not throw stones. Those who live in glass houses shall not throw stones. So, I'ma sit quiet in my glass house. We'll be lurking mod the serves, raid the serves after. Thanks for the stream. Appreciate it, Looney Tunes. So yeah, I'm gonna sit here, very quiet, in my glass house, and not throw stones about who's more democratic or less democratic, about who does what, you know what I mean? Because we are, for everything that you can possibly lob about, like, regardless of what you feel about, like, China or whatever, or their system of government, whatever accusation or whatever criticisms that you have, it's impossible to lobby without looking at ourselves. So, no, I'm not gonna sit here and try to, you know, as a Joe, I live under the bridge, I'll throw all the stones I want. Womp womp. I did hear they arrested a fan fiction writer or something. Yeah, and here we bar entry to scientists because they said something mean about Trump. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, sure. Here we arrest citizens for 25 days for looking brown. So, yeah. Oh, to build, get running, and recoup the cost? Yeah, kind of the problem, right? I don't care about recouping costs, because it shouldn't be about costs. It should be about what we can do. Like, energy is one of those things where it should not be for profit. That's a whole other conversation. Yeah, the devil, I know, exactly. I didn't tell you about the problems here. But yeah, like all the criticisms that people levy at China, it's like, well, I have to tell you, man, it's kind of not great here either. So, stuff and things are happening possibly in Arizona. Recouping the investment in energy should be second by this point. Yeah, and the energy thing shouldn't be like a for-profit thing. We're already heading for disaster. I don't think we can stop it. Honestly, I don't think we can. Even if like we Thanos snapped all CO2 production today, I don't think we can stop what's coming. And what I mean is, like, I don't know how bad it's going to be. I do not know how bad it's going to be. Heck, we might not even see it in our time, because these things take time. Yeah, whatever domino, okay, whatever dominoes have fallen, okay. I don't think we can stop it. Which variant of this? Oh, we're talking about the climate crisis. Only if capitalism ended today, it wouldn't stop it, I think. I think we're cooked. I think if we Thanos snapped capitalism today, the effects that are already locked in, because like that's the thing with like the climate crisis, like things are already on a delayed fuse, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like things are already on a delayed fuse. So whatever happened like decades ago is what we're experiencing now. What we're doing to the planet now is what we're going to experience, you know, down the line, depending. Let me tell you something. I have very little respect for Nick Fuentes, is that he actually believes, unlike Democrats and Republican parties, to hate him, but at least he isn't a hypocrite. No, he's 100% a hypocrite. He's a Nazi, of course he is. Wolfland, tier 1 sub, thank you so much. Hello, howdy. Of course he is. He's pretending to be like a big alpha dude, but when he's not, right? Like he pretends like what he's like this anti like LGBT person, but like behind the scenes he's not. He's kind of into what is it? Was he into like trans people? So yeah, I mean, he's a hypocrite. He doesn't actually believe in anything. Not really. Nick Fuentes doesn't believe in anything other than like the epic 4chan post that he can get through without getting completely axed. You know what I mean? Catboys, there you go. Thank you. The Giga Famine is supposed to hit later this year. Maybe. I don't know how bad things are. It's possible. That's when the worst effects are going to start being felt if we do nothing, which is current outlook. We're definitely going to be experiencing it in our lifetimes beginning in the 30s. That's in a couple years. So, yeah. So like I said, I don't know because I can't really, like, predict how quickly or how bad. But it's not... Those dominoes that have fallen, we can't undo that. We can't put the toothpaste out of the... we can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Okay, it's already out. So yeah, all the dominoes that we've tipped over, those are done. Those are done. There's nothing we can do to stop that. Even if we did Thanos snap all carbon production and whatever, it doesn't mean that we don't do anything. I'm just saying that, like, realistically speaking, the dominoes that have already fallen have fallen, and there's nothing we can do about that. Actually, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. It's just very difficult. Okay, I need to pick a better analogy then. I think I'll stick to the dominoes one. We could still, in the best scenario, limit it to 1.5, but it's still bad. No, I think we're done with that. I think we're done with the 1.5. We can forget about that. We can forget about that. Catman, yes. Like, also, he pretends like he pretends that he's like some like anti like pedophile, you know, person. But wasn't he also like, oh, I want like a 16-year-old wife or whatever? You know, I mean, serious measures need to have taken in the early 1900s. Someone Arrhenius himself predicted human extinction from human fuel burning in 1902. Yeah, I mean, if we keep going, yeah. If we keep going, yeah. I mean, I don't think we'll suffer like total extinction, but it'll be bad. It'll be bad. It'll be really bad. Best case scenario is already outside the window. I think so. I think it's done. I think we can forget about the 1.5 degrees. Who wants a 16-year-old wife? Nicholas Fuentes. All right. So Arizona. Pedos? Yeah, like Nicholas Fuentes, the Nazi. He meant to say husband? No, like he talked about that his ideal wife would be basically like a 16-year-old virgin. I didn't say that. I didn't make him say that. Nobody made him say that. He said that on his stream. It's been locked in. The I can't pronounce that. Sailing over the North Pole in 77 should never have been possible, nuclear icebreaker or not. I mean, we're cooked, fam. What can I tell you? The Arctica? Oh, that's so the Arctica. That's so cool. I hear that Olay is on LM tonight. Really? Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Last prediction point to 2.6, but I think they're too optimistic. I mean, that's probably closer because 1.5 is done. But 2.6 is already pretty catastrophic. 2.6 to 2.9 is pretty bad. That's just to be clear, like that is catastrophe. That is catastrophe. That is bad. That is really bad. I think it will turn into a runaway greenhouse effect and spiral out of control, easily surpass 4 degrees from the moment permafrost starts melting. I mean, that is a dire scenario at that point. That is bad. That is very bad. The giga famine that Nadia was talking about, yeah. That's bad news. AMOC collapse. It's slowing down. So that's a concern. It's a big concern. Very big concern. I don't know. The situation is cooked. That's all I can say. Without a shadow of a doubt, the situation is cooked. And it's not getting better. It's in fact only exponentially getting worse. The bad scenario is what we're heading into. Scientists said lower numbers on their predictions are, quote, conservative. Yep. Predictions are all in a vacuum. It could easily go up 20 plus from unforeseen feedbacks in Permian Triassic style. That's fantastic. I mean, like, to be fair, like, every time we do, like, a study on this kind of stuff, it's like, I don't know if you've, like, read, articles, like, with regards to, like, the climate crisis, but, like, every time I seem to read articles about, like, the climate crisis and we find, like, new information, it's always, oh, shoot, this is happening a lot faster than we expected. Every time I read about a new story, every time I read about a new report, it's always, oh, shoot. This is going a lot faster than we thought. Yeah, it's not bad. That's all I can say about it. And that's not good. That's not enough to take out Elon's Legion, so it's not all bad. Yeah, but we go with them. It's always worse because of conservative nature of predictions. Yep. Anyways, let's head on over to Arizona and finish this last article. Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays plans to seek a new indictment against allies of President Trump who aided his quest to overturn the 2020 election. Her office on Thursday after the state's high court shot down the effort to revive her sprawling first indictment. The Arizona Attorney Office will return this case to the grand jury. We decline to comment further at this time. Sam Carona is the only source I've seen talking 20 plus, but it's hard to know how much to trust them. I mean, again, like what we can gather is that it's very, very bad. And what we can gather is that things are going faster than we thought, and more exponentially than we thought. We were never going to live forever. That's a sad end to complex life on planet, though. Yep, but this one's of our own, of our own devices, right? Like that's what's sad. If it's something that like just happens because that's the way it happens, sure. But like this is a completely this is a completely unforced error here on our side. Look on the bright side, mass migration, climate change banned the notion of national states. No, or reinforce them, or with the exact opposite might happen. We get eco-fascist, we get eco-fascism, right? It could go the exact opposite. So I wouldn't count on that. It could go the exact opposite. The AMOC collapse is a scenario that's very real. Global warming goes too fast, which it is. Not our devices, their devices. We would have ran this planet great with solar and nuclear and public transit. You know what I mean? Like our meaning, like humanity, and humanity is decided that that this is the path that we were going to take. Not us, meaning like literally everyone here. But you know. Anyways. The announcement by Mays, a Democrat, came moments after the Arizona Supreme Court publicly revealed the June 2nd decision to deny Mays' bid to revive the case against some of Trump's top allies, which was dismissed over a judge's finding that there was a defect in the grand jury indictment. The brief, unexplained decision closed the book on a 2-year-old case that threatened some of Trump's closest allies, including former Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, attorney Rudy Giuliani, and John Eastman, and nearly a dozen GOP activists who falsely claimed to be legitimate presidential electors despite Trump's defeat in the state. Trump himself was named by the unusually aggressive grand jury as an unindicted co-conspirator. The judge overseeing the case tossed it last year after finding that Mays prosecutors failed to present the original grand jury with the precise text of the law that Trump's allies were accused of seeking to violate. So, yeah, a technicality. In November, Mays asked Arizona Supreme Court to reverse the lower court ruling. The charges allege that Trump and his allies conspired to corrupt the election results in Arizona and disenfranchise millions of voters in the state. True. The charges included fraud and forgery and culminated in the transmission of a slate of false presidential lectures to Congress in an effort supervised by key members of the Trump campaign. A similar indictment in Georgia, which Trump was also criminally charged, fell apart after the case's original prosecutor, Fani Willis, was disqualified. Again, not because the merits of the charges were bad, but because of a blunder by the prosecution here. I wish What to Do was something that could discuss publicly, and as a society we need a way forward and we need people solving these problems. Yeah. The Permian Triassic didn't end complex life, but things now are happening 10,000 times fast. Yeah, that's exactly the problem. That's exactly the problem. Hey, don't yell at the bot like that. A criminal case brought by special counsel Jack Smith was dismissed after Trump won the election. A case against Michigan's false electors was dropped after a judge found the individual electors were merely pawns used in a larger scheme. The criminal cases targeting the false elector scheme in Nevada and Wisconsin are still pending. So, we'll see what happens in Arizona. I don't know if any accountability is ever going to come, because Trump, at the end of the day, is just never faced any charges. Trump never faced any consequences for any of this. So it's unclear if there's ever going to be consequences for any of this. But we'll see. I mean, kudos to the AG for trying, and kudos to her for trying again. Even though the original case was sent back because of, in my opinion, a technicality. But yeah. The Permian Triassic was the Great Die and the worst mass extinction by far, and some estimates got close to turning Earth into another Venus. Oh boy. A thing that is very possible if we keep going the way we are. Courts move slow enforcing justice, but fast AF, throwing people behind bars for weed and traffic. Yup. Because we need people, right? Obviously brown and black people specifically, for free prison labor. But when we're talking about like people like Donald Trump, nah, the rules are different for people like him. The rules are different. Stupid bot. Now be nice. Alright, folks. It's time for me to get out of here. It is almost above 7:30. Thank you all for being here. Stop slandering Restream Bot. He's just a boy. I don't even have Soul Life to blame. It's okay. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you for the wonderful conversation. I quite frankly liked this format a little bit better because gives me a moment to be a bit more one-on-one. I appreciate all of you guys being here. Thank you for hanging out, and thank you for being in the chat. Thank you, Wolfglen, for the tier 1 sub. Thank you for the follows on Twitch, and thank you for the subscribes on YouTube. I think we're just about 479, 478 at the YouTube. So that's awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. Like weekend, appreciate it. Thank you all for being here. My voice is pretty much done. I appreciate it. Where are we? 479 on the YouTube. So that's awesome. We're close. We're close to the big 5. We're close to the big 500. So I appreciate it. Keep it up, folks. Keep it up. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love y'all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Monday, around 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Appreciate it. Olay is the Leftist Mafia guest tonight. That's awesome. See ya. Alright, folks, hang tight. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.